Hello and welcome to Under a Rock with Brielle and Guerlain.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, today we're continuing discussing Avatar The Last Airbender, Book 3, and we are talking about episodes 9,
No,
10,
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9.
Why is 6 of it in it? Yes,
I feel like
7,
you
8,
told
9.
that joke before.
Yeah, I think maybe for Book 2 or Book 1.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, another good batch of episodes.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
When isn't it?
And this episode, and this like little block has the Halloween-esque episode. Like I
Right.
think they released the Bloodbender episode like around Halloween, if I'm remembering.
I can't tell you for sure. I
Oh.
don't remember.
Hmm.
It would make sense if they did.
Yeah. All right. So, Book 3, Episode 7, The Runaway.
Yes.
One thing that I love about this episode, and I love when TV shows do this in general or movies, when they do kind of an in media res kind of thing. Like you start the episode in this one particular spot, and then it's like 3 days earlier, or a year earlier, or 10 hours earlier, and you kind of see what led up to that point. Because at this point in the show, we know Katara, we know Toph, we know that this is probably not as it appears. Like we
Right.
know that it's not really as bad as it seems. So it's fun to kind of go back in time and see like what actually happened, you know? Yeah, so the gang is training Aang and you okay?
Mm.
The gang is training Aang and uh I love that Sokka's like sneak attack.
Like it doesn't work if you shout it out,
Yeah.
which is a trope. Not even a trope. I see like a lot of cartoons or whatever. Whenever it's a sneak attack, they yell.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how is that a sneak attack?
Exactly. I think it's meant to be the joke.
Right.
But also like Sokka's done this before.
Right.
Like when in like the first episode when he attacks Zuko with the little hammer thing that he has, he like yells and Zuko's like
Like, way to give up your location and
yeah, bye.
gone.
Yeah. Like he has to learn that.
But it's really cool to see them training.
Yeah, especially working together.
Right.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know that Aang is mastering both water and earth currently. But we haven't seen them train in a while.
Yeah.
So to see them train again is like it's kind of cool. And Aang got the blindfold on and like he's learning to just use his other senses, not rely on his sight, which was cool.
Yeah. And he's doing a great job. I mean, Katara and Toph are both really good teachers to him because obviously he's retaining it and,
Yeah.
and obviously he is mastering it himself. But unfortunately Katara and Toph start to fight and they get into a big thing and they decide to take a break.
I just love like when they stop their poses.
Yeah.
Toph was ready to drop an elbow
Yeah,
on Katara. She was ready to do it.
They were ready to take this into like WWE mud wrestling. Like
Yes.
that's where they were going. Yeah, they were both ready to like kill
Throw
each
them,
other. They
yeah.
were ready.
Yes.
And so they Toph, Sokka, and Aang go into the town that they're in. Do they ever say what town it is, or it's just a town?
Just A-Town.
And they only have like one silver piece left. They have like very little money. So Toph sees this guy doing the like ball in the cup thing. She is able to tell that he is basically cheating. And so she's like, well, we can get that money. Like we can scam him back. Because like, I mean, to be fair, this guy is cheating the blind. Like he's literally cheating the blind. So he's not a good person.
No.
So I for one, I appreciate and I applaud Toph for scamming him right back. Good
Yeah.
for her. Good for you, Toph. Like, so Toph is able to win some money and then she wins even more money. And then it kind of becomes like a little montage of them pulling all these scams on these people. She does the oldest scam in the book, which is pretend to get hit by a car.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, damn, they're doing insurance fraud now too?
Yeah.
Because before, when it was just the games
Yeah.
I understood.
Yeah.
Like, just, cheat at a game, whatever. But that was straight up insurance fraud.
Yeah.
Just
So
straight up.
Also, like, I didn't notice this the first time I watched it. There's a lot of corruption in the Fire Nation police force, whatever. I mean, if that's what it's called. Because the guy, when he thinks he hit Toph, he sees Sokka, who's like, I'm a police officer, and the guy is like crying and begging, and then he gives Sokka like all this money. He's literally like paying off Sokka as a police officer. Like, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's corruption. Toph could be seriously injured or dead. And this
just
guy
bribes it off.
knows
Yeah.
that if he cries and begs and gives the guy enough money, he can get away scot-free. Zuko, please fix your corruption. Like, when you become Fire Lord, that's the first thing you gotta do.
I mean, are you really surprised?
No, it's very topical right now. But yeah, so they do that, and then they get back with all this money and everything, and Katara's like, you guys shouldn't be doing this. Like, it's really dangerous. We're already running from that guy. And Sokka's like, I got a name for him. Sparky Sparky Boob Man, which is a really good name. I like it. I like that name.
But Combustion Man just hits different.
Yeah, it does. And Toph kind of doesn't understand why what she's doing is so bad. But Katara is right in this instance. Like, Toph really is risking the group, because as we later see, she gets a wanted poster, so that brings awareness to who she is and who she hangs out with, and it kind of leads Combustion Man to them. As of right now, the only people who know that Aang is alive is Combustion Man and like Zuko.
Right.
So, Toph, by doing all this, is really, she's putting the team in a lot of danger. And I think she just doesn't realize it, because, she's just 12 and she's kind of selfish. Like, that's one of Toph's, I think, more negative traits, is that she is selfish, and she's very, very independent, to the point of she doesn't understand how her actions affect other people. But I think through traveling with the gang, she learns that, but she has little moments where she slips up or forgets or whatever.
Yeah, and she doesn't like being called out on it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because, it's so funny. Katara, like, she could be a psychologist. I mean, she hits the nail on the head precisely. Like, she reads Toph like a book, and she understands that Toph is acting out because she's scared, because she's afraid, because she's angry, and, she is taking out all those feelings on, petty larceny,
Right.
like, she's like, okay, I won't scam anymore. She keeps scamming. And they have the funniest joke, which is Sokka's like, Toph, do you know what I found in the village? This! And it's like, well, it sounds like a sheet of paper. And then later on, when Katara's like, what do you have to say about this? And she's like, I'm blind.
What is good with you people? Like, come on.
Yeah, I laugh every time. That's such a funny gag. Like, both of them being like, look at this paper. And she's like, I can't.
It just really speaks to how everyone sees her.
Yeah.
Because although she is blind, they treat her like anyone else.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
and as I said before, the thing that's so great is that the jokes are never at Toph's expense. They're always at everyone else's for forgetting that she's blind.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Because they see her as a capable person.
Yeah, exactly. She's able to move and interact in the world so well that they just forget that she's blind, you know. But basically, her and Katara have this huge fight, and Toph is like, stop acting like our mom, like you're not my mom, like I don't need you, bye. And Katara's like, bye, and they go off. The thing is, Katara is the mom.
Yeah.
She is the mom of the group. And the sad thing is that it's not by choice. I don't think she would have chosen to be the mom of the group if she had been given a choice. I think she was forced into that position, not by Aang, not by Sokka, but by Hakoda. Unknowingly. I don't think he did it on purpose, but as Sokka tells Toph, when their mother died, Katara stepped up to the plate. And Katara was young. She was like 7 or 8 when that happened. And I don't know where Gran was. Maybe she was there, maybe she wasn't, but it's the way that Sokka talks about it, you kind of assume that Hakoda fell apart, which, is fair. I mean, his wife died. So Katara had to kind of step up and become the mother. And, when you've been that way for so long, it's very hard to step out of it. One of the sad things about this show is just the theme of the loss of childhood, because all of these kids, except, maybe Toph a little bit, or Aang before, never really had a childhood. None of them got to have a normal, happy childhood. Sokka and Katara's was plagued by war and death and fear. Aang had a pretty normal childhood, but then it abruptly ended, and now he's faced with, crazy decisions and power. Toph was coddled and secluded her entire life. Zuko was abused. Like, even like Suki, was trained as a warrior as a child. Like, I mean, yeah, children deserve hobbies, and it's okay if it's, something a little more militaristic, but like she was trained as a warrior with the intent to fight a war, and
Mm-hmm.
even Azula, May, and Ty Lee, like all of these kids grew up with terrible childhoods, and I think this is just kind of a continuation of that idea that Katara was never really allowed to be a kid. She had to be the mom.
Right.
And I think it's also, at least maybe I'm reading into it, maybe I'm not, but I also feel like you can sense that Sokka is not okay with it. Like it bothers him that Katara has kind of taken on this role, because Sokka's the big brother. Like he's supposed to be the one to protect Katara and take care of Katara. Like their father tells him to. And yet I feel like a lot of Sokka's insecurity comes from his perceived failure at his role of big brother. He is not a bender. So he has his little sister who's been taking care of him since they were little. And not only that, but she also has this immense power and she's able to control it so well. Well, what can he do? And I think that's where a lot of his insecurity comes from, because he has this need and this desire to be the overprotective big brother who always saves the day, which I kind of think he is. Maybe not so overprotective, but he does save the day. But instead, he's faced with a little sister who kind of blows him out of the water, and it's the one taking care of him. I think that's where, not resentment, because I don't think he resents Katara, but I think that's where a lot of his internal issues come from.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't fully agree on the idea that maybe you didn't say resentment, but like he kind of like a little annoyed that Katara's that role. I don't fully agree with that. Only because in the beginning, even though he's not like this anymore, but in the very first episode, he's talking about how, well, Katara's complaining about washing his socks, and he's just like, well, you're supposed to wash my socks. Like, who's gonna do it? So I personally believe that he finds comfort that Katara's that way.
Yeah.
The bending part, I do agree with that. Like maybe that's a source of his insecurities, the fact that he's not a bender and she's a bender, and everything. But her taking on the motherly role of his life, I don't think that causes anything with him personally.
I mean, you could be right. I mean, they're just cartoon characters.
Right.
I'm just putting my own, on them. But well, yeah, I you could make a case that his like the way that he was, especially in the beginning, of like super serious. We have to do XYZ right now, and like you have to listen to me, and that sort of like kind of pompous behavior that he exhibited, that could have been a reaction to her telling him what to do, and him feeling like he has to like go along with it.
Yeah.
But the thing that gets me is like he loves her so much. He really, really does. Which is beautiful. But Sokka says like, oh, when I think about my mother, I see Katara's face. And it's like, aw.
Yeah.
But also like, Sokka, all you have to do is look in the mirror.
It looks just like his mom.
I think, I mean, I don't know if it was just they had one kind of face shape or a couple of face shapes for people of the water tribes, to make animation easier. But as we later see, I feel like Sokka looks a lot like Kaya. I think Katara looks like more of a combination of her parents, but I think Sokka looks a lot like Kaya.
Okay.
So all he had to do was look in the mirror.
But he probably just doesn't like really.
He probably doesn't think of it that way, Yeah, that's so sad that they don't have any way of really remembering what she looks like. That's so sad.
No photos or anything.
No, yeah. Aw.
This episode really knows how to play with tone and play
Yes.
with it well. Like, sometimes in media, cartoons, movies, whatever, there'll be a tone shift and it'll be out of nowhere. Just be like, what the, like, why? It was just all happy and joyful, and now it's all dark. Like the progression wasn't smooth.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. With this episode, how it was all silly and fun in the beginning with them pulling the scams, and they lead you to the tone shift with the fight
Mhm.
between Katara and Toph, and then you get this gut punch
Yeah.
of Sokka and Toph venting to one another,
Yeah.
and then it goes back to seemingly silly, but then it gets serious because it's really Combustion Man
Yeah.
that set the whole thing up, and then it's all serious, and then it ends kind of silly again with the line of I know what to call him, Combustion Man, and then Toph is like, all right, that's great, Sokka, now let's get out of here before Combustion Man gets us. And he's like, see, it works so well.
Yeah.
It's like the way they play with tone is well executed.
Yeah, and I've always appreciated that. I feel like they're very good at keeping things light without getting too ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
and going heavier without getting too depressing.
Right.
You know. But yeah, I think it's really important that Sokka told Toph that story because
Yeah.
she needed to understand why Katara was the way that she was. Because I'm sure to Katara, her mothering comes from a fear of, well, if I don't take care of these people, something bad is going to happen to them. Because I couldn't, as we later find out, like, because she, like, left her mother, I mean, she was told to, and it was better that way. Like, her mother was killed. And so I'm sure, this is me putting my, minor psychology and, like, knowledge on it, that she mothers because she cares so deeply about everybody,
Yeah.
And also, like, just to say, like, if it weren't for Katara mothering them, they wouldn't have gotten anything done.
That is true. Yeah.
Like, they need her, unfortunately and fortunately, to be the mom. Because, like, they're a bunch of, like, kids, and they're not going to get anything done if it wasn't for her.
I mean, if we really want to get into it, they would have died in the desert.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for
yeah.
Katara.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
But something else I want to bring up is, so while Katara and Toph are fighting, Sokka's like, oh, let's send a note with Hawkeye. And he explains his plan that he's going to send a note to Katara from Toph. And I love Aang because Aang's like, Sokka, I'm constantly amazed by your intelligence. Like, Aang is so hype for Sokka. He's always, like, backing him up and supporting him. Like, Aang really loves Sokka and really, like, is impressed and, like, admires him. And I feel like we don't talk about that enough.
It's a really nice brotherly love that they got going on.
Yeah, exactly. I love their friendship, and I love the respect that Aang shows Sokka. Like, I hit the mic.
No, you're fine.
It calls back to the previous episode, Sokka's Master, where you and I were saying that, like, the thing that makes the show so great is that none of the characters are ever, like, mean to Sokka about his, lacking abilities, like, in bending. Like, Toph, I think, made fun of him in the beginning, but ultimately everybody on the team respects him so much.
Right.
So I love that.
And it's just I forgot which episode you mentioned this, but they had like a Tweedledum
thing. Was it the one where they were in the Earth Kingdom and they were trying to sneak into the party?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So I think this is like another one.
Yeah.
When,
it's two halves of a whole idiot.
that's exactly what you said. And when Haki comes back, and Aang's just like, should we send a note to Toph? And Sokka's just like, I think we're gonna run into a similar problem.
Yeah. Also, like Sokka, I also don't know how messenger hawks / like pigeons work. I had to ask my mom. I was like, Mom, how do messenger pigeons work? Because I never understood it. Like, how do pigeons just like know
where to go?
And the thing is, it's not that like the pigeon just magically knows where to go. It's that the pigeon has their home, and then they have the few places that they know where to go because they've been trained to go to those specific places. So it's not like one pigeon can go anywhere. It's like, oh, I got to send a note to the Southern Water Tribe, you can send this pigeon because this pigeon or hawk knows how to get to the Southern Water Tribe. It knows how to go there. It knows how to come back.
Okay.
So the thing with like a homing pigeon or a hawk in this case is that you shouldn't really buy one because you would have to train it to know to come back to your house.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas all the hawks in that place know to come back to that place. That's like the post office. And then they go out and they come back. So that's how homing pigeons work.
Okay.
Yeah, I never knew that. I
didn't know
never
that
knew that
either.
was how they worked. But yeah, it's not that they know how to go everywhere. They just know how to go to a specific place and they know how to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Sokka should name everything from now on. I mean, Hockey, Sparky, Boom Man, Foo, Cuddly Poops. He's an expert at naming things.
He is.
Combustion Man. Yeah, so basically Katara, hears Sokka telling Toph the whole situation, and she's like, you know what, Toph? Let's you and me do one last scam. Yeah, girl heist. We love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts off well. Like Katara, fake turns Toph in, and we're back at the beginning of the episode. And when she goes to get the reward, she finds out that Combustion Man found them through Toph's poster, and it's a trap.
Mm-hmm.
Toph is in a cell of wood, and they're all alone, basically. And Katara realizes that she can use her sweat as water to waterbend. So that's really, really cool.
That was ingenious.
Yeah, that was really, really fun.
One thing that kind of confused me is how did they know that Toph could metal bend? Because it wasn't like she really showed her metal bending during the scams or anything.
I don't know. I guess even if they didn't know that she could metal bend, I guess maybe they put her in a wood cage just to play it safe.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they did know that she metal bend. Maybe I'm trying to think if Combustion Man saw her bend metal.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, I mean, she's in a wood cage,
yeah.
and Katara is able to get enough sweat and cut the bars, and Toph is like, yeah, you're a sweaty, stinky, master. Gotta love it. And they break out because they realize that, Combustion Man is going towards Aang and Sokka. And I love that Aang is like, oh no, it's Sparky, Boom Man. He just goes along with it. I love that. Aang really loves Sokka, man, I tell you.
And what I love about that also is that it just shows sometimes you have to hear your ideas out loud.
Yeah.
To know that they work or they don't work.
They don't work, yeah. Not every idea is a golden one.
Yeah.
So they're fighting against Combustion Man, and I love that, it's kind of funny that, one little pebble is enough to just kind of knock him out because it hits him right on the center of that eye thing that he uses.
Mm-hmm.
But they are able to escape using all of their combined powers and everything, and they get away, thankfully. And Toph kind of has this moment where she's like, Katara, you were right. I'd like to write a letter to my parents. I do miss them, and I do want to talk to them. And so that's a really sweet way to end the episode.
Yes. Yeah. Good episode. I love the kind of the what would you call it, a double entendre with the title? Is that how double entendre works? Am I using this word correctly?
You mean the double meaning?
Double
entendre implies that there's something sexual with one of the meanings.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I know not to use.
Yeah.
Because they call Toph the Runaway because she will scam you and then run away.
Yeah.
But she's actually a runaway.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool.
I didn't even think of that.
Mm.
Yeah. Also, I just wrote in my notes, aw, Sokka loves hockey.
Where did Hockey go?
Yeah. We never see him again.
We don't.
I know.
Damn.
He probably just went back to his little homing post office thing. But still, Sokka bought him.
Yeah, with money.
Yeah.
You just send him away, whatever.
One last thing that I love about this episode is Toph acting like a sugar mama. When she comes back, she's like, here, Sokka, make yourself some armor, take some money, bye. Love that.
She's like, you love expensive things. Like,
Yeah.
just take this. Might
Yeah.
as well just take the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was a really good episode
Mhm.
because, like you said, it really straddled the tone expertly. It was
Yes.
really well done. All right, so I guess on to the next episode.
The Puppet Master.
The Puppet Master. Dun, dun,
Ooh.
dun. So the kids are in a forest. They're telling spooky stories. Katara tells the best one. It honestly, it was pretty creepy. Like, I remember watching it and I was like, ooh, spooky. Like, I wasn't scared because, but I was like, ooh, spooky. And then Hama shows up and she's like, oh, you kids shouldn't be in this forest. Like, it's really dangerous. Like, I have an in. Come with me. Her voice, that's Mom from Futurama.
It's, okay.
Yeah. I was like watching the episode and I was like, that voice sounds so familiar. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Mom.
I was wondering too. I was like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Mom from Futurama.
Just again, like the who of who and voice acting
Yeah,
the show
exactly.
has.
Yeah. Especially, for someone to just be in like a one episode thing is speaks to the quality of the show and the way that they probably compensated or treated their actors, So they go to the inn with her and it's so funny because like she basically tells them that she's the one doing it. Like she basically is like, oh yeah, you got to stay out of the woods on a full moon. Like it gets so dangerous. And they're like, yeah, but you were there. And she's like, oh yeah, like she literally is like pointing a big sign at herself that she's the one doing it.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny. But everyone is like, I don't know, this place is a little creepy. It's a little weird. Sokka just immediately falls asleep. Gotta love that. You gotta love a guy who can just conk out.
Out like a light.
Yeah. I love that he's like all over the place when he wakes up. They hang around with her and Sokka has like a weird feeling about her and he basically with the gang they start snooping around. So he finds these puppets and Katara's like, hey, she's allowed to have a hobby. Like you shouldn't be looking through her house. It's really rude. She was nice to us and opened up her home. And they go up to an attic and they see like a little box behind a locked door. The thing that I think is so cool is Toph using the meteorite to like as like a moldable clay and becoming anything. Like that's so cool. That's so clever and creative and so interesting. It really speaks to Toph's like power that she's able to do that because, even though meteorite is a very different type of rock than just like a rock you find in the dirt, to be able to mold it constantly probably takes a lot of energy and skill. So that's impressive. So they open the door and they find in the box like a little comb and it's a water tribe comb because Hama is from the Southern Water Tribe and she wanted to make them a big feast to like kind of give them a little taste of home. She mentions that they have like a sea prune substitute and Aang is like,
he's like, great.
Wonderful.
This again.
Yeah. And there's something that kind of makes me sad. I wish that this, not that I wish this could have been, but this could have been such a heartwarming episode.
Yeah.
Like if Hama had not been who she was, this could have been a really nice episode of like Katara and Sokka just getting a moment to like be with someone who's their person, like who's from their tribe and, maybe show a few things to Toph and Aang and like, not feel like they're so alone. It could have been really nice.
We almost got it.
But basically, Hama says that she was in the Southern Water Tribe and the Fire Nation came and started to basically cull all the waterbenders and she was taken prisoner and that's how she ended up here in the Fire Nation. It's sad because you can see how big and expansive the Southern Water Tribe once was.
Yeah.
It was once just as impressive as the Northern Water Tribe. And, so it's sad that like, as we know it now, it's like a couple of huts, And
it seems like the Southern waterbenders were more resourceful than the Northern waterbenders. Because Paku didn't teach Katara how to like pull water out of the air.
Yeah.
And like to think that there's water everywhere.
Yeah.
She learned that from,
yeah.
What's the name?
Hama.
Hama.
Yeah.
Also, we see the ship.
Yeah, we see that put the ship up.
Yeah.
Call back to the first episode.
Which just goes back to just show how everything was planned. I
Yeah. Oh,
love
it's
it.
so good. It's really, really good. Um, yeah, but it's sad how much was lost in the Southern Water Tribe because they just stole like swaths and swaths of people. And yeah, and I do feel bad for Hama. Like that's not a good situation to be in, and she clearly, was not treated well. Um, but she's like, I can't tell any more stories. It hurts too much. But Katara, when tomorrow morning, I'll give you some like waterbending tips. And like you said, she teaches Katara to pull water from the air, to pull water from the flowers, which is ingenious.
Yeah.
And Katara's like, yeah, that guy in the swamp was able to control the plants that way. And the thing that I really like about this episode is that the music is so good in this episode at giving you hints.
Mhm.
Like when Hama shows the water on her fingertips and then it turns to ice, the music is very sinister. And then it goes away. Like just a little hint that maybe something's not okay. And,
Right.
you know, Hama shows us the fire lilies, and she's like, yeah, I kind of always liked these flowers. And then she just steals the water with no remorse. And Katara's like, oh, that's kind of sad. And Hama's like, who cares?
They're just flowers.
They're just flowers, yeah. Like, to quote another TV show, Hama's methods are really cool and innovative and clever. What she does is bad. Like, cool motives, still murder.
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of on homicide, to be honest with you.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Mm.
But basically, like, the rest of the gang, besides Katara, starts hearing about people disappearing, and Toph is like, yeah, I heard screaming under the mountain. And they run into this old man who tells them that he was like possessed and he had to make his way up to the mountain, and then he was able to get away because the sun came up. And so they're like, oh, we have to go to the mountain. There are like people trapped there. So they're trying to figure out what's going on. They think it's a spirit. Toph is like, maybe it's the moon. And Sokka's like, the moon is a nice lady.
She is gentle and kind and beautiful, and she would never do such a thing.
Yeah. But basically, they get up there, and there is a tunnel, and there are people trapped, and they realize that it's Hama doing it, though they don't exactly know how yet. So Toph stays with the Fire Nation citizens and helps break them out, and Sokka and Aang rush to Katara. And it's the full moon, and Hama basically explains the rest of the story. That she was imprisoned for years, kept away from any water, and she was able to kind of understand and figure out that there's water in the human body. So using rats, she was able to kind of learn how to bloodbend and control people's blood and their bodies. And so when she was powerful enough in it, she, was able to escape and basically walk free. And so now she basically kidnaps people. Does she kill them? I don't think they ever tell you what she does with the people that she captures. I guess she just keeps them in prison like she was.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so Katara's like, that's bad. That's not good. I don't want to learn how to bloodbend. I don't want to do that. Couple of things. One, speaking from a, if we want to, play devil's advocate and think about and be the bad guy for a second, why was Hama allowed to live so long? What was the point of allowing her to live for decades?
In prison?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Why did they do that? Why did they need her alive?
Why didn't need any of them alive?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if they, because once they figured out that that none of these waterbenders were the Avatar, they should have just been dead. They should have been dead. There was no reason to keep them alive.
But that wasn't they weren't searching for the Avatar.
Oh, they weren't?
No, they were just wiping out waterbenders.
Oh, I thought it was because they killed all the airbenders and there weren't any, and the Avatar hadn't appeared, so they assumed that it was in the waterbending tribes.
They just wanted to, because Sozin knew that the last Avatar is the last Airbender.
Yeah.
And Sozin died looking for Aang.
Yeah.
And I only say that because we later learned that the firebender who killed Kaya was specifically there to kill the last Southern Water Tribe waterbender.
Oh, yeah.
They never explained as to why they were wiping out the Southern Water Tribe.
Just to, stop any resistance or opposition.
Yeah, I guess to assert their dominance.
Yeah.
Because the Northern Water Tribe was too powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would just.
I don't know why they allowed her to live so long so that she could learn how to bloodbend. There's no reason. You brought this on yourself. So the thing is, okay, I'm not like mad at Hama for learning how to bloodbend. That is the act of a desperate woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame her for using everything in her disposal to get away. But the thing is that I think is so important is, and I'm going to bring up Jet, because Hama is the idea of what happens when you let anger and pain and revenge control your life. Because she escaped and she could have gone anywhere. She could have gone back to the Southern Water Tribe to help her people, to teach Katara, or if there had been any other, waterbenders there. She could have gone to the Northern Water Tribe to be safe, She could have gone to the Earth Kingdom to just start a new life. But instead, she chooses to stay in the place that enslaved her because she wants to hurt them like they hurt her.
Right.
And again, I don't blame her for her anger, for her pain. I don't even blame her for wanting to seek revenge, but she lets it consume her to the point of she's hurting an innocent person like Katara, forcing her to do something she doesn't want to do. She's willing to hurt two more innocent people, Sokka and Aang, who have nothing to do with it, by making them fight each other. And she's kidnapping innocent Fire Nation people. Those people that she's kidnapping, they are not her age. They were not there when she was enslaved. They were, if they were there, they were kids, or they weren't even born yet. I'm not trying to say that the people in the Fire Nation are completely innocent of the crimes that the generals did, because that's a very slippery slope to go down. The Fire Nation citizens were complicit in the atrocities, but not these ones that she's kidnapping. They're all younger. They're all when they're I don't know for sure, but they all look like they're in their 20s and 30s.
Right.
The only one who's her age was Old Man Ding. Why do they call me that? So it's not like these people were responsible for her imprisonment and torture. What is she gaining by imprisoning and torturing them? Because the thing about revenge is, it's a very popular quote, but when you seek revenge, you dig two graves. One for them and one for yourself. Because the thing about revenge is that you will never be satisfied. You will never be satisfied with revenge. To bring up a really good movie, The Princess Bride. Have you ever seen The Princess Bride?
No.
What, did you live under a rock?
Hey!
But in The Princess Bride, there is a character who has made it his life's goal to get revenge on the man who killed his father. It's been his life's goal for 20-something years, right? And at the end, he finally is able to fight that man and kill him. And what does he say when he kills the man who killed his father? He says, "I want my father back, you son of a bitch." Killing the six-fingered man who killed his father, definitely, I think, helped. It helped ease his soul a little bit, but it doesn't bring his father back. Hama hurting all these people is not going to erase the trauma that happened. And Katara later learns this. She has to learn this too. Hama could kill every Fire Nation soldier that there is. It's still not going to make her pain disappear, because she has chosen to let it consume and infect her. And it's really sad, because Jet, he was kind of in that same boat where he was letting his anger and his pain and his resentment consume his lust for revenge, and he was slowly on a path to away from that, and he was tragically killed. And so I think through Jet and through Hama, there's a very important lesson to be learned about, understanding your pain and your anger, but letting it go, or using it in a positive way and not letting revenge consume your life. Because Hama ends up right back where she started, in jail, and Jet dies tragically.
Well, the reason why I say I'm on homicide, kind of, is because she was in prison for 30 plus years,
Yeah,
something like that. After after that amount of time, I feel like you're too far gone. I don't agree with how she executed it.
Yeah.
And I'm not really speaking on life,
Yeah.
just staying within the realm of the show. So
Yes.
this is not how I feel outside.
Yeah.
Uh but if you're gonna stay in the if she's gonna stay in the Fire Nation, she could have like infiltrated the
Yeah.
main island, be where Ozai is.
Yeah. She could have done so much. She could have literally killed the people who directly hurt her.
Yeah.
But instead she chooses to like be in this little random town and just like hurt random people.
Yeah.
Like,
that I don't agree with.
yeah, like that's the problem. When you are so far gone like that, you don't see reason, you just want to hurt people.
Oh yeah.
You just want to hurt people like they hurt you. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. And it's sad because she could have, it's I'm not saying that like, oh, she should have been able to snap right back. Like that's not what I'm saying, but she made it worse on herself. She chose to do that. She could have left. She could have gone back to the Southern Water Tribe. She could have been with her people. She could have moved on in some kind of way. But she chooses pain, and it's sad. It's really sad.
I mean, she becomes a different person. So
Yeah.
I could see it in her head. Is like, what's the point of going back? Like, I'm not gonna enjoy it the same way. I'm not gonna ever be happy again.
Yeah.
And it's kind of confirmed at the end when they take her off to jail. I'm thinking, what's the point of like putting her back in jail? She's just gonna get out again with bloodbending. But it's the fact that she said, "My work here is done."
Yeah.
Her whole if the gang never showed up, she would have just kept doing this until she died.
Yeah.
But the fact that when she sees Katara and like Katara's a waterbender, she's teaching Katara all the stuff. I think everything shifted in her mind. It went from I'm just gonna keep doing this till I die to I'm gonna pass this on to you now.
Yeah.
You're
Whether
gonna
you want it or not.
Whether you want or not, you're gonna carry my work, and essentially Katara does.
Yeah.
In a way,
Against her will. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she's okay going back in jail now because
Yeah.
just like listen, like I did what could be done.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, Hama's like the worst person in the show for
yeah,
making Katara do that.
yeah. It's a very dark moment. This is probably like the darkest.
Yeah.
The darkest moment ever in just children television in history.
Yeah.
Gravity Falls is a close second.
Yeah. Oh,
Very
yeah.
close second, but this is dark.
Yeah. I will say though, Katara's really badass. Like when the boys are being controlled, she's like doing all this stuff to like not hurt them but get them out of the way. And I love that the boys are like, "It's okay, Katara. It's okay. You can throw me into a tree. It's fine." Something else that's also just like crazy is Hama never taught Katara how to bloodbend. She just was explaining how she like realized and learned, but she never taught Katara. And Katara's able to do it. Like Katara's power. Her power. Like I understand it's the full moon, so she's more powerful, but like, whoa!
It's because she has the best of both worlds. Like she learned from Master Paku, and now she just learned what she learned from Hama.
Yeah, but Hama never actually like taught her anything.
Well, because being a waterbender master already,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she was just able to.
She was able to pick it up. Yeah, that's what's so like crazy to me that she never had to learn like a form or anything. She was just like, and I can do it now.
Yeah, she's the greatest waterbender to ever
Oh
live
yeah,
in
definitely. Yeah. And yeah, and now Katara has that skill. And it's clear that she doesn't really like it, but something that I couldn't help but think of was there was this like TikTok that I saw that was like this girl and she was like, "Oh, if you could be any kind of bender, what kind of bender would you be?" And then she like pretends to be somebody else and she's like, "I would be a waterbender so I could be a bloodbender." And then she goes, "Bitch, you can't even parallel park. You think you would be a bloodbender? That is a high level skill."
Damn.
Yeah. But
So-
the thing is that I think people forget is one, you can only bloodbend on the full moon.
Currently.
We're not talking about Korra. You can only bloodbend on the full moon.
Right.
And two, the emotional toll that takes on a person is not to be underscored. Like, literally all Katara did was stop Hama to prevent her from hurting her brother and Aang. And it, like, you know, and it really upsets her. So, like, for someone to just casually bloodbend, that's gotta be a real emotional toll. You know, that's not an easy thing to be able to do, to control someone like that. You know, you've got to be prepared for what that does to you as the person controlling, you know. But this is a crazy episode.
Yeah.
They should have just listened to Toph and Sokka the whole time, man. I tell you.
They were saying we gotta get out. People screaming on the mountain.
Yeah. All right. Well, and then it goes back to, well, I don't know if the next episode is like cute. It has some funny moments.
It's an acid trip.
Yeah, a little bit. Nightmares and daydreams. One, koala sheep are very cute.
The what?
Koala sheep. The little sheep, the koala sheep. They're cute.
I didn't even notice that they were koala sheep. I just thought they were sheep. Okay.
They got the little noses. So they get to the island where everyone's going to meet for the invasion, and they're there early. So everyone's like, great, we can just sleep. And Aang is so anxious and so scared that he cannot sleep, and he just keeps having all these nightmares. The first one is a Dragon Ball Z parody where he forgets his pants. And the second one is, I feel like it was more of like a Naruto parody, especially with the movements. And in that one, Aang did not study for his math test. And then the last one, I couldn't figure out what it was meant to be like a parody of, but I was reading some like stuff about this episode, and in general there were nods or homages to like you know, Shampoo, like you were saying, and they said Cowboy Bebop. There was like some homage to that.
Okay.
And then like another anime called FLCL, something like that. Another, I don't know those animes, but like it was definitely like a loving little tribute or homage to like other animes and stories at the time.
I could see the Shampoo.
Yeah.
Bebop, I'm not too sure. But
I just that's what I read. I don't know how true it is. I was like on the wiki and I was like, let me look this up. Yeah, so Aang is just having nightmares. Meanwhile, Zuko is living in a daydream. See what I did there?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Clever.
He's basically the prince and everything's fine and he's living his life. And I think this episode is so important to Zuko because it's showing him what his life would be like. What his life would have been like if he either A, hadn't spoken up at that war meeting, or B, had captured the Avatar like earlier. And so he gets like this rare opportunity to see what his life would be like, and if it's what he really wants. And you know, let's hope that when he becomes Fire Lord, everything gets less ridiculous, because it's kind of ridiculous.
What do you mean?
Just like the whole like spiel of him like getting up and like everybody does one thing. And it's like, you know, that's exhausting. Like that's so annoying. And then like he gets out and they're like, oh, don't you want to take the palanquin? And he's like, I'm just going to May's house. And then the joke is that it's like right across the street.
You can't be walking. No, sir.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill does a lot of voice work on this episode because he's the servant.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just knew he was Ozai, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah. Who's May staying with? Her parents are still in Omashu, right? Who is she staying with? Who's she living with? She's only like a kid. She's 17.
I don't know. I guess being friends with Azula has its perks.
Yeah.
So maybe she could just...
Unless she has like another relative or something that's like she's staying with.
Maybe.
It's not important. It cuts back to Aang, and I feel so bad for him because he's under so much pressure. He's a kid, and he's under so much pressure to, at this point, like kill the Fire Lord and just bring peace and unity back to the world. And that's a lot to ask of him, and he obviously does not feel prepared. Like, he doesn't know fire bending, and he's like only just become like skilled at water bending and earth bending, and it's really like, it's kind of sad because, you know, all of his friends are like, Aang, you need to calm down, you need to go to sleep, and he physically can't, and you know, he he just keeps freaking out and having all these ridiculous dreams, and he needs to study for his math test.
It is the way that they talk about anxiety and sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
He has bag under his eyes.
I know. That's why sleep is important, kids.
Yeah. It's an interesting contrast to Aang's usually carefree attitude.
Yeah.
It's like the minute that he learned that the invasion is in 4 days, he completely
freaks out. Yeah.
does a complete 180.
Yeah.
When he freaks out and he's just doing all this training and then he comes back, it's nighttime again. When he comes and say good night to everyone.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just go to sleep.
Just go to sleep already.
Yeah.
Good night, Appa and Momo.
And he's just like punching trees, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Also, anyone who doesn't like Mako needs to watch this episode because they are very, very sweet together, Mei and Zuko.
Yeah, I really love Mei in this episode.
Yeah, because you can see that she's really trying
Yeah.
to like, you know, open up and be there for him because like obviously what he said to her at the beach is still in like resonating inside of her. So she's being a lot more affectionate. She's being, you know, more romantic.
Yeah.
Which is great. I think that's a good thing that she's trying to open up to him. I mean, it sucks because he's being an emo boy, but like, you know.
What you gonna do?
But Zuko's also learning too because he asks her what she wants and then he gets her what she wants. He doesn't just assume, he asks her and she wants a fruit tart.
Character development.
Yes, character development. Like you can see that yes, their conversations are still a little shallow. Like they're not really talking about deep stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
But they're getting there and they're trying to make it work and they do genuinely care about each other and I love that. I love Zuko and Mei together. I think they're so cute. Cut back to Aang. He has another nightmare. And he's like, Sokka, you have to get better at climbing. And Sokka, bless his heart, is like, okay, I guess I'm gonna climb. But like, he doesn't have to.
No.
He could just tell Aang, relax, like Katara and Toph do. But instead, he's like, no, Aang is worried, so I'm gonna climb this mountain.
Stupid avatar,
Yeah.
stupid dream.
Like, you gotta love that.
And then Toph drinking water.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we died because of your tiny bladder. And you need to start wearing your hair more up because you got caught by a train. And like, damn, everything's so elaborate.
Yeah. But, you know, this episode really brings home that he's like a kid.
Yeah.
You know, he's a kid and he's panicking. He's a child, Your Honor. You know, he's under so much pressure. And I think Aang knows inside of himself that he's not ready. And that's why he's freaking out. Because later on in the show, when it really comes down to, well, now it's time to fight, he doesn't panic. Not as much. He definitely, he like disappears and does all that stuff. But like here he's like panicking. And I think it's because he knows deep down that he's not ready.
And he was right.
He was right. He was absolutely right. Yeah. So I love Appa sleeping like a little pill bug. It's so
When
cute.
he's holding his tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Aang is just so sleep deprived and he's like hallucinating. And he has this moment where he talks to Katara and he basically tells her that he loves her. Baby, you're my forever girl.
What a moment.
It is. It's such a sweet moment. I know it's meant to be like kind of a parody of like romance movies and that big scene, but like I still think it's sweet. Baby, you're my forever girl? Like, aw, that's adorable.
Did you know that before it got to that part saying that when he said babe, because the baby was like a complete that was very telling that this is not real.
Yeah.
But before that, did you think this was a hallucination? Like
No, not until he said like, you know, baby, you're my forever girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
You thought they were like really kissing and everything? Before? Or no?
You know what? Actually, when I realized that, I was like, oh, this is probably hallucination. After they kissed for the first time and Katara's like, well, I don't know, but I want to keep like doing it or whatever.
What
I
are
was
we
like,
doing?
yeah, I was like, oh, this is definitely not real. This is a dream. Because like, I feel like there would have been a little more resistance, like a little more like, what? As we later see.
Right. When he snaps out of it and Katara asks him, oh, like, what were you thinking about? And he said, living underwater. I couldn't help but think, oh, so basically you were swimming good. Anyone who gets that reference, we could be friends.
So, Zuko and Mei are like hanging out, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool.
I love that.
Yeah. And May mentions that there's like a war meeting, and Zuko's like, well, I wasn't invited. Why wasn't I invited?
Mhm.
And she's like, well, I don't know. Maybe, why does it matter? Like, you don't want to go. Why do you care? And so he runs to Azula, and he's like, how come I wasn't invited? And Azula's like, I don't know. You're the prince. I guess they just assumed that you would be going. And he was like, well, they didn't invite me, so I'm not gonna go. And she's like, fine, Zuko, do whatever you want. Like,
Yeah.
Azula does not care. You know, it's so funny because, like, I feel like now that they're together again, Azula and Zuko have kind of become that, like, sibling relationship where they just, like, don't care about each other. They're just like, whatever, I don't like you, do whatever you want. Like, just get out of my face, Zuko.
Like,
Go be emo somewhere else.
Honestly, I love how he asks, were you invited? And he's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm the princess. Of course I was.
And he's like, what?
Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Also, that spa thing that they're doing where they're like brushing her hair, that seems so nice.
It seems relaxing.
Man, I need that right now. I really, really do.
Mm.
That feeling of someone like washing your hair and cutting your hair. Oh, I love that. I love the feeling of somebody like washing and cutting my hair.
Need a spa day.
Yeah, and it sucks right now because you really can't do that. The last time I got my haircut was over the summer. My friend did it in the backyard, so I didn't get the whole experience. She did a good job though, but yeah, I want to get my hair cut and I want like the whole experience. Zuko's like, fine, I won't go to the meeting. And then it's a little bit later and he's with May and they're like, Zuko, where are you? We want you at the meeting. Your father is waiting for you. He says he won't start the meeting until you get there. And this is like a dream to Zuko. This is what he always wanted, you know, for his father to care and respect him. And so he goes to the meeting, you know, and you know, May's like, this is great. This is what you said you wanted. Like, have fun at the meeting, you know, and you know, you can kind of see that the uncertainty in Zuko, I think, you know?
Yeah.
And then when he comes out of the meeting, May's like, how was it? Like, how do you feel? And he's like, I was the perfect prince. I was my father's right hand. And it was not like I thought it was going to be, you know? It wasn't the way that I thought I would enjoy it, you know, because I think what Zuko learns in this episode is that he has to figure out who he is and who he wants to be, you know, and that this idea that he had in his head of who he's supposed to be is not the truth. And, you know, there it is, Zuko, there's all you ever wanted, and he doesn't want it anymore, you know? He's a different person. And he's changed, and, you know, he has to now find his own path, you know?
He now knows like who he is as a person, which is really interesting. Even though we don't see what the meeting was about in this episode, we see later down, way later, like near the last episode.
Yeah.
But the whole thing was their plan to how they're gonna use Sosin's comment and how they're gonna like basically massacre everybody.
Yeah.
In the first war meeting, whatever that Zuko participated in, he spoke out when the fire general was saying, "Oh yeah, let's just put out our new recruits as like bait or whatever."
Yeah, as like a shield.
As a shield, and Zuko lashed out, was like, "You can't do that, blah blah blah. Like there are people they signed up to fight for us. How you could just betray them like that?" He spoke out.
Yeah.
In this meeting, when they're talking about decimating the entire Earth Kingdom, he doesn't speak out. He like you said, he says he was the perfect prince. He just sat there and he was like, "Nah, this shit ain't it.
Yeah.
This is not me." So that's the moment that we see Zuko's redemption arc really start.
Yeah.
This is the moment.
Yeah, because I mean, he's a different person now.
Yeah.
You know, the 3 years at sea, and then the year kind of chasing Aang and then living in the Earth Kingdom, he can't go back to who he was. He's a different person now. He's a better person now. You know, I don't know if I would say his redemption arc is starting. I think it's just continuing. And this is a very important moment in it. There's a loud car noise.
Yeah.
This is a turning point for him. You know,
Mm.
he can't keep going on pretending that he can just step back into his role and everything will be fine. You know, it's not who he is. You know, he's not Ozai's son anymore. You know, if
Yeah.
anything, he's Iroh's son.
Yeah.
You know,
Basically.
and you know that shot of him looking up at the tapestry of his father and realizing that's not who he wants to be is just so moving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really great. Back to Aang. He is hallucinating. He's overtraining. He's, you know, exhausting himself. You know, he tries yoga, doesn't work. He tries like talk therapy with Dr. Wang Fire, does not work. He screams into a pillow, which is a koala sheep. It's very funny. And he has these like really, really crazy dreams where like he sees all of his friends being hurt and he can't move, and he gets so like delusional at one point that Momo and Appa start talking and fighting, and it's an epic battle.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Before we even get there, just when everybody is expressing their concern for Aang,
Yeah.
it goes from Katara, it goes to Sokka, it goes to Toph, and then when it pans again, when I first watched this as a kid, when it panned to Appa and Appa started talking, I died laughing. I was like, what the fuck? It was like, it's getting out of hand. We are concerned about you. Like, this is not healthy whatsoever.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Oh my God, my guts were hurting.
Yeah.
Pause.
It's very funny. It's very funny.
When Appa is just like, no. I'm sick and tired of him always saying something. He's gonna get it. It's like, no, come on, buddy. And they're just in like full on Shogun samurai outfits, duking it out.
Yeah. Appa has the 4 swords.
The 4 swords. I kind of like how this hallucination kind of like gives a little sneak peek to what Appa's armor is gonna look like.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And it's so crazy. And I feel like the way that they really like illustrated Aang's like hallucinations was really cool and interesting to watch. Like they had all the koala sheep and they had the tree with Ozai's face on it, like dancing and everything, and they had the rocks and the, you know, it was just really, really cool. It was very freaky, but like in a really interesting way.
Yeah. It's all, and then like freaking Guru Patik.
Yeah.
It was an acid dream.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just,
you know, he just that's why you gotta go to sleep. And they're fighting and Aang's like, stop it. And then because his friends love him and care about him, they make him a really soft bed. So he's finally able to go to sleep. And he has one last dream where he's confronted by the Fire Lord. And he says what I think is like the best line in the whole show. No, Fire Lord Ozai, you're not wearing pants.
what? No.
I die every time. It's so funny.
You don't have your pants on. Man,
and it's like symbolic of Aang like overcoming his anxiety.
It's really sweet.
Yeah.
The way everything ends. Very Ham Hill's performance is very Joker-esque.
Yeah,
with
in
the
this part, especially during the like other dreams, yeah, because he's supposed to be more of a caricature.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
When they revealed the bed and it's like, hey, we put a lot of work into it, and they just slowly pan to the koala sheep and they're just shivering, just like. And it's very quick too. It's like it's not like they like stay on it.
Yeah.
They pan and it goes away. You just see them just kind of just like looking at them sideways, like, yeah, it was a lot of work. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. But it works. Aang is able to go to sleep and have a peaceful dream where he's able to, you know, calm down and get some rest for the big invasion that's happening the next day.
The next episode.
Yeah. We're getting there. We're really getting there. But yeah, I think this episode is just a really important episode because, like I said, it's important for Aang because it kind of gives you the idea that, like, he knows that he's not ready and he's panicking. But it's also important for Zuko because it kind of shows him that, you know, what he wanted isn't actually what he wants. You know, I think about the, you know, the musical Wicked?
Yes.
So, like, you know, in the song, like, Defying Gravity, where Glinda's like, You can have all you ever wanted.
Mhm.
And Elphaba's like, but I don't want it. I can't want it anymore. And then she sings Defying Gravity. That was Zuko. That was Zuko. That was exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like how the old saying goes, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Nah. Yeah, I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
All the funny moments, all the sad moments.
Yeah.
The crazy moments. And just seeing, okay, I guess one last thing. Just seeing to what you were saying, how when Zuko was looking at uh the picture of Ozai, I couldn't help but think about the line that we hear way later down the book of when Zuko and Iroh get back together, and I was just saying that I was afraid that you lost your way. Like I was never mad at you. I was just afraid that you lost your way. And up until that point, that fear was very much so justified, because it did seem as though Zuko lost his way.
Yeah.
And just to think, if he never went to that war meeting, he still would have.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So it took that war meeting. It took him being the perfect prince, not speaking up when he felt like he should have, to realize that I'm on the wrong path.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes Iroh's their moment that more impactful and that more emotional.
Yeah. Aw.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. For those who are watching on our YouTube channel, you can find us on anywhere where where you can find a podcast.
Yep.
Spotify, Apple Music, all that jazz. All right. So we'll see you in next episode, where we discuss the invasion.
Yeah, the invasion.
All right. See ya.
Bye.